Continuing with our land capability classification, we had discussed we classify the land according to its capability. The main parameters that we have discussed are the land slope, second the soil texture, third the soil depth, and lastly the erosion status or erodibility of the soil. So how we can practically find out for a particular piece of land under which category that particular piece of land comes under. So we can do a investigation study. We know the parameters for soil depth. We have denoted certain symbols for land slope, even for soil depth. Accordingly, for each and every class for a particular type of soil, the land class may differ. How it may differ, let's see. So these are the main parameters. One is the land slope, second the soil depth, third is your texture of the soil, fourth is your erosion status. We had even also discussed what are the criteria, how do we classify land slope. Like we have given notation as A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I. Just to remind you once again, say land slope. Any land which has a very minor slope, say 0 to 1%, and again, particularly in the case of land slope, we have to consider the type of the soil. Soil can be alluvial soil, as it happens in Indo-Gangetic plain. It could be black cotton soil, like that of Madhya Pradesh and some part of Maharashtra and Karnataka. It could be red soil that exists in Jharkhand, parts of Bihar, parts of UP, or it could be mountainous or mountainous soil, as in case of Uttarakhand or the Himalayan region. So the land slope, the effect of land slope in such type of soil would be different for different types of soil. Accordingly, as per the land capability classification, the land slope which we define for example, alluvial soil would be different for red soil. If you see the last table in the previous slide, the last table in this lecture, there was a table, and on that particular column against land slope, we have defined alluvial soil, red soil, black soil, and also the mountainous or Himalayan soil. So there you can find some difference in class 1, what we considered class 1 or 2 in a particular type of soil may be different in some other type of soil. But for our own convenience and for our own self-understanding, we are taking the red soil as the base, because the region from where we work in, that is Jharkhand, Chotanagpur area, most of the soil come under red soil. So we will be talking about red soil. 0 to 1% for red soil, we denote it by A, and this comes under class 1. 1 to 3%, this we denote by B, and this is class 2. 3 to 5%, C, again class 2. So for red soil, 1 to 5% range comes under class 2 type of land when we talk about the land slope. 5 to 10%, we denote it by D, and this comes under class 3. 10 to 15%, E. 15 to 25%, F. This is special feature of class 4 type of This I think we have defined yesterday also, just to remind you. 25 to 30%, 33% rather, we do not divide. F के बाद क्या आता है? A, B, C, D, E, F, G. G. This is meant class 5. Again we have discussed class 5 comes under special category of land where all the parameters may be as good, but still it is rendered useless because of many of the reasons like stoniness or lack salt intrusion. So this comes under class 6. Then 33 to 50% GH class 8, 7 sorry, and 50 to above 50% we denoted by I, and this is a characteristic of class 8 type of land. So according to the slope we define the classes like this. Now coming to soil depth. Soil depth, yesterday we have defined the top soil, the soil in the A horizon that comes under the depth of the soil, the soil in which cultivation takes place, that is the top soil where you have a reservoir of nutrient as well as moisture and humus or organic matter that is your top soil. So soil depth is the next criteria in this land capability classification. Soil depth, and again we have classified as grouped it in 5 categories. Above 90 centimeter of depth we have denoted it by D5. 45 to 90, about 90 centimeter soil depth. D4 as soil depth ranging from 45 to 90 centimeter. D3 22.5 to 45 centimeter. D4 has 7.5 to 22.5 centimeter, and D1 has land which the land which has soil depth less than 7.5 centimeter we have classified as D1. So this is according to this soil classification based on soil depth. This comes under class 1. This is class 2, class 3, class 4 and 6, classes 7 and 8. So any soil which has got good depth is always preferable, and such type of soil will have better classification in this land capability classification. So this is about soil depth. Now coming to soil texture. What is texture? Texture is the proportion in which the soil particles, according to its particle size, the proportion of sand, silt and clay in a particular soil or aggregate, that is your soil texture. Soil texture can be your sand, it could be clay, it could be sand, clay, loam. This could be silt, clay, loam. This could be silt, loam, or simply loam. So any number of, there are 10 or 12 combinations that we are making, that can be made. Then again, silt, loam, silt, clay, loamy sand or sandy loam. These are the soil combination that may exist in a particular type of land. And according to this classification, class 1 type of land is, we know, is the best suited for cultivation. Class 2 is little moderate, its ranking is not as good as class 1. So in class 1 type of land, you will have a combination loam, silt combination type of soil. Any soil which has a combination of sand, silt and clay in more or less equal proportion, that is considered good for cultivation. So this will come under class 1. So does this one. This one also. And if we have something like sand, clay, loam, or silt, clay, or silt, loam, this is class 1, and this also forms class 2. One or two type of texture would not be there in class 2 type of land. And in class 3 type of land, there would be clay. This is class 3 type of land. And class 4 would be sand or clay. दोनों एक साथ होगा तो ये class 4 हो सकता है. Class 4 means it is, here what is sand means, it does not mean necessarily mean this sand, only sand. It means the proportion of sand in comparison to silt and clay is more, right? Or the sand, or in this case clay predominates in such kind of nation. This also comes under class 2 and class 3. So we can have, what we can conclude from this land category classification, class 1 will have a combination of silt, clay, loam, silt, loam, loamy sand, sandy loam, or simply loam. And class 2 will also have almost all the same, all this type of combination except 1 or 2. I am not going exactly, you can see the table that we have provided in the previous slides. And class 3 would be having one type of soil, either it would be clay, either it would be sand, clay loam, or sandy clay. This type of thing would be class 3, and class 4 types of land would be more or less sandy type of soil. Now coming to soil. Erosion status. So there we have, yesterday we have heard, there are, according to this parameter, we have divided the erosion status as E1, E2, E3 and E4. Accordingly, the severity of erosion that takes place in such type of lands. So E1 is characterized by land having where the erosion, the cutting away of the soil, the erosion is limited up to 1/4 of the topsoil, or in more scientific term is the 1/4 of a horizon. So in E2 classification, it would be half E2 classification, the severity of soil erosion is such that almost half to 3/4 of the A horizon soil or the top soil is lost due to the effect of erosion, or the erodibility or the resistance the soil offered to the erosion is, in the case of E2, E3 is less than E1. E3 classification, we have 3/4 of A horizon to 1/4 of B horizon is lost as erosion. E3 is even worse form, where the top layer may be completely removed, and also the underneath layer, that is the B horizon, is exposed, and erosion may extend up to the 1/4 of the B horizon. E4, 1/4 of B horizon to 3/4 of B horizon is lost. So as we go down the line, E1 to E4, the severity of erosion is getting more. And such type of land is characteristic of class 1 and class 2. Now we are coming to LCC, land community classification. So even in class 1 and class 2 type of land, we have erosion status as E1. So in our further table, we will be representing only E1. Wherever we write E1, that means the severity of erosion is up to 1/4 to the top soil. This is characteristic of class 3. This is of 4 and 6, and this is of 7 and 8. I think it is clear to you. So E1, wherever the erosion status is represented by E1, means it is indicative of class 1 and class 2, where the effect of erosion is much less compared to the other classes. E2, where half to 3/4 of topsoil is lost, this comes under class 3. E3, 4 and 6, E4, 7 and 8. So where is E5? Where is class 5? Class 5 can have may stand out in all the parameters, but still it is unusable because there is a special kind of land. Now we have defined all these parameters. We can put it in a tabular form. We will, at one column, will define the classes, and other columns we will define these parameters. This is your class texture. Your land slope will denote it by S. Soil depth, what next? Erosion status. Then we'll add one more column where that is your decision part. That is, if you have first type of thing, what should be the class of the land, or what are the conservation measures? What is the ultimate aim of this, making this categorizing land according to its capability is, if we have to treat such type of land for soil erosion treatment, what control measures we can adopt. For that, we are doing all this exercise. Right? So what should be the control measures? And this will be your decision based on your readings that you get. Say class 1. Go to the table that we have defined earlier or the one which is there in the slide. It may differ. Mind small caution that whatever you have in the table that was given in the slides, this may differ to this one because that is a generalized table and we are considering the red soil. Right? For class 1 we can have soil texture as silt loam, silt clay loam, loam is sand, sandy loam, simply loam, or silt clay. This type of soil texture you can have. Land slope would be, it is necessarily 0 to 1% for red soil. Soil depth और 0 to 1% को हमने क्या कैसे रिप्रेजेंट किया था? A. Soil depth D5. Erosion status E1. This column we will fill once we complete all of this. Now coming to class 2. Here again you can have the same combination or maybe 1 or 2 combination less. Silt, clay loam, loam, silt, clay or loam sand. And here the land slope can be A, can be B as well as C. Because B is 1 to 3% and C is 3 to 5% for red soil. Had it been alluvial or black cotton or mountainous soil, this land slope classification could have been different. How it can be different? Just imagine if a mountainous land, there you have high amount of rainfall or precipitation, even a milder slope will cause more erosion. So we have to put that rainfall effect also into mind. So this land slope is different for different types of soil. Here this is necessarily D4, which means soil depth as 45 to 90 centimeter and erosion status is again E1. Now coming to class 3 type of land. This could be clay, sandy clay. These two categories would come under this classification of texture. And land slope here is D. That means 5 to 10%. And your soil depth is D3, that is 22.5 to 45 centimeter. And this is here E2, that is half to 3/4 of the A horizon is eaten away or lost as soil erosion. Now coming to 4, here you can have clay or sandy soil mostly, silt, clay. This type of soil texture you will get in class 4 type of land. Land slope would be E and F, that is E is 10 to 15 and F is 15 to 25. And here the soil depth is much lower than the previous one. Here it is D2 and the erosion status here is E2 as well as E3. In some cases it would be E2, in other cases it would be E3. And this is your arable land or the land suitable for cultivation. In such type of land you can have cultivation where the slope is within a certain limit. Soil depth is more or less comparatively better than the other type of land. And your soil texture is also such that cultivation can be possible with some amendments, especially in class 3 and 4. And soil depth, land slope is also manageable by maybe by contour bunting or raided bunting or maybe bench terracing and with reinforcement of agronomic measures. Now coming to non-arable lands, class 5. So this is a special category land. Here all the parameters could be conducive except for the fact that it would be stony land or it could be land infested with where moisture groundwater table is very high, or in marshy land, or in brackish situation it would be affected by salt water. इस तरह का सिचुएशन आता है क्लास 5 के अंदर में आता है और यहाँ पे सारा पैरामीटर्स could be or could not be good, but still it is uncultivable because of this stoniness or excess moisture or salt water intrusion. Now coming to this is non-cultivable land. Class 7, 6. In this type of land, इस तरह का soil है. We don't have soil, but the underneath surface is exposed. At the most, you will have sand or gravels. And land slope G, that is 25 to 33%, and soil depth is B1, and erosion status is E3 as well as E4. E3 mostly. And coming to class 7, here again, इसका soil type लिखने की कोई जरूरत नहीं because it is hard surface, stoniness is there, मिट्टी तो है ही नहीं इसमें. So soil depth is still here. When we talk about soil depth, we talk about topsoil. Land slope H, that is 25 to 50%. Sorry, 33 to 50%. This is 25 to 33%. 23 to 50%. And soil depth is नहीं है इसमें, or we can say B1, or erosion status is E3 as well as E4. Class 8 type of land. Texture, again there is no texture because there is no topsoil. This comes under I, that is land slope is above 50%. And soil depth is negligible, less than 1%, less than 7.5 centimeter, that is D1 under this condition. And erosion status is E4, where severe erosion takes place, where the A horizon is completely removed and also the soil is eating into the B horizon. So this comes under E4. Now the decision part. So we have this type of class 1 as this type, class 2 as this type, in these 4 parameters, class 3, 4. And this is your non-arable land. We have this type of land slope, soil depth, and erosion status. So in class 6 to 8, there is no soil depth. So we can now advocate conservation measures according to the land capability classification. Say class 1 type of land. This is good as far as texture is concerned. This is very good as far as land slope is concerned, because for agriculture, for any cultivation to take place, we preferably should be having a nearly leveled surface, and that is there as 0 to 1% in red soil, of course. And soil depth as D5, very good soil depth, and erosion is also bare minimum. So such type of land did not very much, need not have any conservation measures, no measures required, or at the most agriculture agronomic management. At the most what? Agronomic measure or the biological measures. Second is your class 2 type of land. Here the land slope is 1 to 5%, where we require some mechanical manipulation. Mostly it could be managed with agronomic measures. Agronomic measures. What are those agronomic measures? I have asked you to give a write-up about these agronomic measures, and I have not received yet. So what you can do is, I have given all my contact number as well as email ID. You send it, try to write it, although I will be providing you notes for the first 3 or 4 lectures. I will be providing you the notes, but still you do one exercise. The assignment that I have given you, please send it to my email ID, so that it will give me a confirmation that you are also putting your effort, right? And as far as the note is concerned, you may be having class representatives, class CRs, you call it. For all the 4 colleges, CRs of all 4 colleges, send me your email ID through my. I will send it to in those email IDs, and you can circulate it among yourselves, among you. Third is your agronomic measures, but still in some places for this red type of soil, the slope is still higher, soil depth is little less, plus some mechanical measures like contour farming, contour bunds or graded bunds required. This comes under mechanical measures, this is biological measures. A combination of both mechanical and biological measures would be required. Here class 3 type of land, see the soil depth is even lesser, 22.5 to 45. That means the erosion is taking place at a good pace. Even the soil type or texture is not that good as of class 1 and class 2. Even the land is more steeper, so there is always a chance of runoff taking place. As a result, erosion will take place. Erosion status is also not very good. Such type of land, contour bund, mechanical measures like bund, and also in some cases bench terracing would be required. What is terracing that we learned the other day? Terracing is converting the sloping land into small platforms so that the length of the slope is reduced. When we reduce the length of the slope, the water will not flow as fast. There would be breaks in all the benches, so the erosive velocity with which the runoff is taking place or the flowing water is taking place, that would be minimized step by step. So bund terracing plus agronomic measures would be required. At class 4 type of land, where the land slope is even higher, that is 10 to 25%, E and F under this notation. Here, even the bunds would not be sufficient, because the land slope is such that if rain occurs at a higher intensity and the soil depth is also less infiltration, that is the absorption of soil, water inside the soil would be less. As a result, more water will flow as surface runoff or surface flow, and it will carry away soil as well as organic matter with it. So in such type of land, terracing is the only solution with stabilization. How do you stabilize? You stabilize it with grasses. Plus, we have studied vegetative waterways. So wherever there is terrace and stabilization, terrace is there, buntings are there, the excess water or the excess water is drained through this vegetative waterways. So these are the agronomic measures. These are the erosion control measures that we can adopt for agricultural land. For non-agricultural land, we will be discussing it under gully control structures or the gully control measures. Gully we have studied advanced form of reel erosion. If reel erosion is not controlled, or it is allowed to go on, or if you don't control it by say tillage practices, the reel will the length of the reels as well as its width as well as depth will increase during the course of the time, and it will be converted into gully. Once the gully is formed and stabilized, it will be rather difficult or non-economical to control or treat such type of land. So whenever there is a gully, it should be tackled in the initiation stage itself. There is a lecture on, there will be a class on gully and gully control as well as classification of gully. We will discuss the control measures for class 5 to class 8 in that class, and for your information we will tell you whatever the measures here we have to do, this would be based on the drainage line, that is on the rivulet or the streams. Here the effort would be to reduce the velocity of the stream of the water passing through the gullies. How we can do it? Through some temporary as well as permanent measures. A glimpse of it we have discussed in the previous classes, I think, like temporary structures, semi-temporary, semi-permanent and permanent structures that we have to discuss it here. That is, here we have to do drainage line treatment. Right. So this is how we classify all this land according to its classification, according to main parameters of land slope, soil depth, texture as well as erosion status. Let's do one exercise. Keeping this table intact, say we have, say, as an agriculturist or a person working in this field of soil and water conservation has done an investigation study, or we also call it participatory net planning on the farmer's field. Say this is farmers, this is farmer 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 5, and this is the total area of each farmer that he has got. Say this is 0.2 hectares, say this is 0.5 hectares. Say 0.3 hectare, say 1 hectare, say 0.9 hectare. This is the area which he has got for cultivation. And if we have done, say we have done a study on participatory net planning, under participatory net planning or investigation, we have found the land slope of this farmer, overall slope is say 8%, soil depth is 46 centimeter, erosion status is E2, and say the texture is silt clay loam. So what would be the Under which category does this land comes under? That we have to see. Similarly, second formula we will name it, say ENGG.BY. Second farmer, say Somra, he has got 0.5 hectare. His land slope is, now question would arise that how without any instrument or without any technical support we can find the land slope. Such type of question should arise, and right now I am not going to tell you. So I want some inquiry from you. Either, since you cannot interact with me directly, there are many mediums. You can ask me. That's why I have given my WhatsApp number, email ID. You can interact with me, ask me. Then, or if the things get normalized, we will have face-to-face discussion in the classroom. Land slope, say this is 12%, and this is red soil. Okay, this is red soil. D is 57 centimeter. Erosion status again E2, and the soil is loamy sand. Third farmer, Mangal, is having a piece of land that is 0.3 hectares, and his land slope is, say, 5%. Soil depth is 72 centimeter. Erosion status E1, and soil type silt loam. Fourth farmer, Buddha, is having 1 hectare of land. His average slope is 12%. Soil depth is 44 centimeter. Erosion status as E2, and soil type sandy clay. Panchwa, I am giving you more examples because I take it as a practical class, and things should be, once this class is over, things should be clear in everybody's mind, and even if it is not clear, you can ask me anytime. Say Birsa. He is having 0.5 hectare land. How much is 1 hectare, by the way? 1 hectare is 2.5 acres. Right? Hectare is in MKS unit, and this acre is your FPS unit. Right? His land slope, %, soil depth, say 44 centimeter or 46 centimeter. Erosion status E2, and this is loam soil. Okay. Why leave out Supra and Sanuja? Supra, next one, is having, say, 0.3 hectares. Land slope as 22%. Soil depth 21 centimeter. Erosion status E2, and soil is sandy soil. Sanichar, last farmer of our survey, Sanichar. Say 0.4 hectares. Land slope, this is say 15%. Soil depth is 36 centimeter. Erosion status E2, and soil type is sandy type soil or sandy clay. Now you have to just imagine, according to this classification we have derived for red soil, what class type of land, under which category does this 7 farmers land belong to, that you have to determine. Let's see. Land slope 8%. That means it comes under class 3. Because C is up to 5%, D is 5 to 10%. According to land slope, it is class 3. According to soil depth, it is 46 centimeter depth we are having. Soil depth 46 centimeter, that is, it comes under D5 is above 90, 45 to 90 is D4. According to soil depth of this classification, this land comes under class 2. And E2, erosion status E2, that is the half to 3/4 of the topsoil is removed. This comes under either 3 or 4. We will write it here, 3 or 4 according to the erosion status. What's next? Texture, SICL. SICL means class 1 or class 2. So according to all those 4 parameters we have listed what type of land it should come into, but we have been getting some different type of rating. According to one category it is class 2, according to some other category it is class 4. Now, in determining which class of land does this farmer's land belong to, we have to always go for the limiting factor. What is the limiting factor here? Class 4 is the limiting factor, or this erosion status is your limiting factor. So the class of the land would be the class of the limiting factor, because erosion status determines its class of land. Here the erosion status is E2, it may fall under class 3 or class 4. That's why his overall class of this land would be class 3. Now some doubt may arise, why class 3, why not class 2 or class 1? According to land slope it was class 2, according to soil depth it was class 2 again. So why it is class 3? It's because we have to go for the limiting factor. There is a saying in English, the strength of a chain is the strength of its weakest link. Here the weakest link is what? The weakest link is your erosion status, where that's why it is coming under class 3. Just imagine a relay race. 4 people are running. Out of which 3 are very good runners, sprinters. The 4th one is not that as good as the other 3. But the race will be determined by the one who is little slow in running. So that will determine the overall, ranking of that team. So that is the limiting factor. Here the erosion status is the limiting factor, and the class of the land would be the class of its limiting factor. So this is your class 3 type of land. Similarly for the next farmer, Sobra, we have land slope as 12%. 12% will come under class 4, 10 to 25% in red soil. So according to land slope it is class 4. Soil depth is 57, very much better. That is D4, that comes under class 2. E2 can be class 3 or 4, right, class 3. Or erosion status is what is it? Your soil texture. Soil texture LS. LS is coming under class 2. But here the limiting factor is what? What is the limiting factor? Land slope is the limiting factor here. This is the limiting factor. So the class of the land would be the class of the limiting parameter. Here the limiting parameter is land slope. The overall class of the land for this farmer Sobra is class 4. I hope you are getting it. If you are not, still there would be, I understand, I realize there would be some doubt. You can ask me. The mode of asking you already know. I have given all my contact and email ID. You can still ask me. Even phone number is there. Third farmer Mangal, he has got how much land? 0.3 hectares. Normally this net participatory planning is done with a technical person and 2 members of the farmer. So all the slope, soil depth can be determined by digging out the soil. Land slope or erosion status you can understand by digging up the soil. Such type of exercise is done, which if you have any inquiry you can ask me out. Now in Mangal's case, land slope is 5%. In red soil, 5% means it comes under class 3. More than 5 to 10 is class 3. It comes under class 2 according to land slope. Soil depth is 72 centimeters, that is D4, class 2. Erosion status E1, that is his land is more or less subjected to less erosion. So according to erosion status, the land could be either class 1 or 2 and SIL, a mixture of soil again, either 1 or 2. And what is the limiting factor here? These two, land slope and soil depth. The overall class of the land will be class 2. Budha, he has got 1 hectare. Land slope, according to land slope, is coming under class 4. Soil depth के हिसाब से class 3 में आ रहा है. Erosion status के हिसाब से again class 3 में, और soil type और texture के हिसाब से आ रहा है आपको class 3. What is the limiting factor here? The slope is the limiting factor, class 4. So the overall classification class will be class 4. Birsa, next Birsa, he is having 0.9 hectares of land. According to land slope is coming under class 3. इसके depth के हिसाब से class 2, erosion status के हिसाब से 3 और soil texture के हिसाब से 2. Overall class here class 3. Now coming to Supra's land, he has got 0.3 hectares. Land slope के हिसाब से इसका land आ रहा है 22% land slope. This comes under class 4. Soil depth is very less, 21 centimeter. That is class 4. 7.5 to 22.5 में आ रहा है. This again is class 4. E2 class 4 में आ रहा है. और soil texture is S. S is class 4. So in his case there is no confusion. His land categorization or classification is categorized as class 4. Now the last farmer, Sanichar, has got 1 acre of land, that is 0.4 hectares of course. Land slope is 15%. 15% comes in the class 4 type of according to land slope. Soil depth is 36 centimeter, that comes under D3, that is class 3. Erosion status के हिसाब से class 3 और soil texture के हिसाब से SC comes under class 3. Here what is the limiting factor? Class 4. According to soil land slope it is class 4. According to other parameters of texture, depth and what do you call it? Texture, depth and erosion status is coming out to be class 3. But the land slope is the determining or the limiting factor. So the overall class is class 4. Now we have done what we have done. We have done an investigation study of 7 farmers with the help of farmer and a technical person, where we have at the farmers field determined land slope, soil depth, soil texture, as well as how you find soil texture in field. There are many methods. Some field observations also, you can have a rough gauge, you can gauge what is the type of the soil. Rather than going to the laboratory study is much more accurate. So accordingly we have classified as class 3, 4, 5 and 6. And when we have this type of class, now we can advocate the farmer. See, you are having this type of land, and here what type of measures you can adopt. For example, in the case of Itwa's piece of land, this comes under class 3. Class 3 में हम क्या देंगे इसमें? What we have to provide is land with proper bund and also terracing, and the terraces or bund should be stabilized with agronomic measures like grasses on the bund for proper stabilization. Say in the case of Mangal's farm field, his land comes under class 2. Class 2 के लिए क्या recommendation है हमारा? वहाँ के लिए we have to go for agronomic measures like contour farming, crop rotation, and also it should be supported with bunding in some cases. Bunding, contour or graded bunding according to the place where he is living in. Say the other person, Sukra's field comes under class 4. For class 4, what is our recommendation? Is terracing with stabilization plus water, vegetative waterways. So in his field, we can advocate or recommend bench terracing for his field, and even if it is terraces already made, it has to be made according to some scientific patterns. Rule has to be followed, proper design has to be followed, and also for stabilizing those bunds, or reinforcing the bunds with some stone structures or with some vegetative barriers, we can put that in the bench terraces. So this is how we classify land according to its classification, and how we determine practically what is the class of a particular piece of land according to these 4 main parameters of land: slope, soil depth, soil texture and erosion status. And finally, if the class of the land is known, we can recommend the control measures for this piece of land. I think that's all for today. And what I want you to do is, you might not be having any books. The suggested book for this course is, there's one very famous book, Michael and Ojha, Part 2, Volume 2, that is Volume 2, Principles of Agriculture Engineering, or you can also refer R. Suresh, Soil and Water Conservation, and there's one more book, Land and Water Management Engineering by Vivian. And now, lot of things are available in your YouTube, in your internet. You can go for YouTube videos, you can go with open sources, even class notes are available in many sites for the same subject. You can refer that as well. I'll be sending my own, provided you give me your CR should be giving me your email ID, so that I can send the note to you, and it can be recirculated among all the 4 colleges. So for your just reference, I am giving the book's name, Principles of Agriculture Engineering by Michael and Ojha. Second is Soil and Water Conservation by R. Suresh. And third book, I am recommending books which are available in the library. Third book is for this course could be Vivian Murthy, Land and Water Management by Vivian Murthy. So that is all. So what are the doubts that is coming in your mind? I am not able to know, but still, if you communicate with me in any of the medium that I have told you, so I can clear some of your doubt, and once this college's classes begin, we can have a discussion. Thank you very much for your attention.